Welcome to the It's All Fine and Danjee podcast, where hosts Dan and Angie talk with creatives, small business owners, charities, and all kinds of interesting people. It's all real talk. It's all fine and Danjee.
I should be like, call it something.
Chat.
Like,
Sort of put. Well,
chat.
so, and we also kind of just fade in, just like this.
Yeah.
So there's no
Yeah.
official introduction. But I will say, we are sitting here with Jason Montilla. Said your last name right?
That you did.
I did.
I was practicing it in case I was going to intro.
So here's the funny thing. So Jason is an artist in many ways, and we're going to talk about that. You're also an IT guy, so I can relate on both of those levels. But I was doing a little bit of research on you throughout the week as we're leading up to this, and it's funny. It was almost exactly 100 episodes ago. We missed
Episode 37. You were episode 37.
No kidding.
and we're 138, so we missed it by one. But yeah, it was
All right,
100
now I'm leaving.
So
That's it.
100 episodes ago.
roll credits.
Wow.
So anyways, thanks for coming to do this with us again. This is really cool.
First of all, thank you both so much for having me on. This is so much fun to do these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that my episode has spawned 101 more episodes.
Can I?
Totally.
I'm gonna do this for a minute and then I'm gonna stop. But I have to say, we re-listened to it. We talked about how good it was. Your 100th episode video that you sent in, once you got, was my absolute favorite. Everybody's were good, but it was my absolute favorite. It was great. So you'll notice you were like the thumbnail of the thing and everything, but I knew you were going to go off. But I remembered when we talked last time, it was right after the Miis Theater, the Groundhog, whatever that play was called.
Yeah.
And in that conversation, we learned that you had been doing, at some level, acting or being involved with acting and directing since high school. You did skits in college. And then you took like a huge gap in time before
In theater.
Oh, and the theater side until you did the Miis thing. So it was like, are you still doing anything with any kind of theater stuff, or are you?
Traditionally, theater, no. I actually did. I did a last Fringe, so we're in the middle, or we're at the end now. It's pretty much done. But we finished Fringe here. But a year ago was in Fringe, the 30th anniversary Fringe was the first time I had done anything since Miis, as far as like where I had to memorize lines and all that stuff. And I did a show called The Wizard of Lock Haven Park, because it's in Lock Haven Park.
Okay.
It was outdoors, and when I
remember
cast,
seeing social media of you about this now.
Now every day I did my own makeup, and every day I was the one of the wizards. There were two of us because there's so many shows. Almost everybody had a double.
Yeah.
But I did my makeup every single day, a little bit differently for each performance. And I sat there for like 2 hours doing my makeup, and that's what I was most proud of. But it was also I didn't know this when I got cast. They didn't know this when they cast me, but it's also it's operatic. It's an opera.
Oh.
And so you had to actually be able to sing. And when the person who cast me, who was the director, she didn't know it was all sung. She thought the lines were spoken.
So you were already cast by the time you found this out.
Yes.
I would have died.
Yeah. And I think I did pretty well because
Good
the
for you.
composer, he absolutely loved my performance, and he and I have worked together since, and I think he's trying to get me into some other things as well. He lives in Texas, but he is absolutely an artist to the nth degree. That's actually how he makes his money, which I'm always amazed.
Oh, I know, me too.
Oh, when
That's the dream,
when you
right?
can find somebody that is actually, making money off their art, that is amazing.
That is
like,
the dream.
Not just making money, but making like a living where that's what you get to focus 100% of your time on.
Oh, I know. I'd like to say I could write for 15 hours a day if that's all I had to do.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about something you just said. You said you think you did really well considering did he tweak?
I'm not an opera singer.
No, I know, but did he tweak the music for your voice? Is that what you're saying?
So the original part was bass part, like really low.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. So I was telling the director, who's a friend of mine, who's also the person, by the way, spoiler alert, who runs the rescue that I'll probably be talking about because I'm very highly involved with it.
Yes, of course.
But anyway, Jody, she I said to her, I said, this part, because I got the music and I was listening to it, and this part is bass. I'm not a bass. I'm just not a bass. And I was so upset because I thought I was going to be recast. And he just rewrote it for me. And it was fantastic.
Nice.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So you're still doing the acting thing. You kind of stayed involved in all that. What is your day job in IT? I know I thought I'd read that you were like a development manager.
Yeah.
Or so are you leading like a software development team or?
So since I've seen you, I switched to a different job. I think I've had 2 jobs since I've seen you both.
Is this what you meant by?
It's been a while. It's been since 2019.
It's been, I only measure things in episodes now. I'm just kidding.
So I would say about 90 episodes ago.
Yeah.
So I was working for a company that I was doing all the tech, all the development for a company that manages aquatic safety. So people who are lifeguards, lifeguard trainers, things like that, basically taking any kind of lifeguard business, water park business, and digitizing it, because that's notoriously a paper-based business.
Yeah.
And we created that. And COVID, unfortunately, really put a damper on that business.
Parks? Yes.
Yeah, because I mean that's all based on people showing up.
And you're in the water together. I mean that's a whole different. Is that what you mean? Like a water park? Like
water parks, any kind of pools. Cruise lines. Actually, my old company they have most of the major cruise lines except for the Disney cruise lines, things like that. So if you go onto a ship that's, again, not a Disney ship, it's probably my old company that's doing all of the. But all those businesses, all our major lines of income.
I know.
You know, the Bahamas, all the lifeguards in the Bahamas. So basically, I became a little bit too expensive, and I started looking. I saw the writing on the wall. I started looking for other opportunities. I went and talked to them. I actually still support them here and there on the side.
Oh, that's great. You have that
I
kind of
hired my replacement from just a technical, because I was doing way more than just the technical work. Yeah, and then I found a job with a education based company called Community Brands, and I started doing just management.
Okay,
about a year and 8 months ago.
A little bit.
So now I'm managing the developers, which I had done before, but I had done management and development at the same time. And I left such wonderful people at that company. But one thing I really missed, which they could not do, was I wanted the option. I wanted to work with people again. I'm very people oriented.
Sure.
And it's hard. And that's what COVID did to a lot of people that are very social. And now they were stuck in the house or working remotely. And it was driving them crazy. So that's probably what was going on with you.
Well, I had been doing it for 10 years before it was COVID cool. And this job where I am now, which I happen to be wearing the shirt.
Representing.
Just happen to be. Sure.
Yeah. Well, nobody's.
It's Tuesday. It's a work day.
It's Tuesday. It is, yeah. I went into the office today, which I couldn't say that for a long time.
Sure.
And it's a very young up and coming company. They've got unicorn status very recently, which basically means they reach a certain milestone in funding and income, and so it's.
I'm very happy you explained that.
Yeah.
Now,
I was like, what is unicorn status?
What does the new company do?
So the new Stacks used to be called Fat Wallet. Basically, they work with payments, so they get you paid. So you would use them, for example, like Square is kind of, it's not really a competitor because Square is really for a little bit of a different market, but it allows companies to get paid. So if you, like, let's say you have a bug exterminating business, something like that, and you have people all over the place, you might sign up to work with Stacks, and they would handle all of your payments and all your transactions and everything. So people can actually pay you either with a device or online.
Like Fat Stacks.
Fat Stacks.
I get it.
Yeah.
See the lingo.
Yeah.
But you're you can work on the technical side and with people at the same time again. Is that kind of?
So what I actually do is, I just started. So this is my second week. I just started last week.
I saw you were unemployed for a weekend.
I was for a whole weekend. I was just
You were
lazy,
telling me about that.
unemployed. Actually, I wasn't lazy at all. We were moving.
Yeah.
I picked the wrong week for all this stuff to happen all at the same time.
Where did you move? I know where you were. Where did you move to?
Yeah, so we moved from the Claremont area back to the downtown area. And it's because I have the most wonderful partner in the world. My wife is an amazing person.
Isn't she the drug dealer?
She's the drug dealer. She brings me home the best supplements. It's true. And so getting old sucks. I'm going to take a little detour here. Getting old sucks. And she comes home and she says, hey, there's this supplement that everybody's talking about at work. And it sounds like a commercial, I swear.
I'm already interested.
Everybody's talking about it at work. It's called Prevagen, and it's made from I don't even remember what it's made from some sort of aquatic animal, a jellyfish, something like that. Made from some sort of, and it's really expensive. If you go out and buy it at Walgreens or something like that, I think it costs like $40 a bottle. But because she works at the Center for Living Well at Disney, she's able to get things a little bit cheaper, and she's an employee, whatever. So she brings me home these, but they're still expensive. I think she still pays like $30 for the bottle. And of course, it says you have to use it for 90 days to see results.
Of course.
Of course.
This is what she tells me when I'm like, it doesn't work.
So it doesn't work for me. Because I still can't remember things the same as I could 90 days ago.
Wait a minute, Jason. Is the problem that you're not remembering to take the supplement?
Funny enough,
that's how it is for me.
I had that in
That's a great point.
I had that in a routine at one point. I took it out, but yeah, I had written that down, and that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Well, I tried lion's mane for that same reason. It's supposed to help with your memory and your brain function. And I mean, I'm not even trying to be funny. I just forgot to take it after a while.
So you're going to say you keep getting scratched by the lions.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes it's a pain because it's like powder form, and then you got to put it in your coffee to really get the good, benefits from it.
This is just a little pill.
I don't know. How old are you?
47. I'll be 48 in September.
Okay, so I'll be 51 this year. I'm not that much further ahead of you. And I guess I have an affliction to the idea of having like the old man plastic thing that says like Monday, Tuesday, that I have to open every morning.
Oh, I totally have that.
I'm going to have it. That's the only way I can remember because, she'll buy me all this stuff, and 6 months later I'll be like, oh yeah. And then it's gone bad or whatever.
Yeah.
The problem is you'll open up the drawer with your little pill box in there, and you'll look there on Wednesday and you're like, oh, Tuesday's still filled up.
That's true.
So do I take?
Can I double dose?
Yeah.
Do I have to start over now? Because you're supposed to do it for a certain amount of days before it works.
Right.
Exactly. So I noticed that you said earlier that you almost wrote that into a skit. What were you talking about there? I almost wrote it into a routine.
So I'm doing stand-up comedy now. That's the newest thing in my arsenal.
And that's the biggest thing I think I wanted to ask you about, because that's awesome to me. And you're doing it all over the place from what I've seen.
Yeah, I'd be doing it tonight if I wasn't here. Actually,
wow.
Yeah, I'm going to be going out tomorrow night as well. So this is open mics, is what.
Right.
Okay, that's what you're doing.
Sure.
Okay.
So the difference between shows and open mics.
Of course.
A show is when people pay and go out to go and see comedy.
Yeah.
An open mic is when you go and you practice the comedy to other comedians who don't give a crap that you're sitting there and talking. So you get very little feedback, and it'll kill your soul.
But can I? So this is one of those things like actors where I will never be an actor and I will never be a comedian. But there's something wildly entertaining about the whole. Like I'll watch YouTube videos or listen to interviews of comedians talking about the process, or like comedians in cars getting coffee is wildly entertaining to me because they're talking about going to those open mics and trying their new material and seeing if they're getting any feedback from the other comedians or the or the crowd that's in there that don't know who they are. And even some of the pros do that to try it for their shows, to rework their material. So how did you get into this? Like, did you just get up on mic and one day did you say, I'm going to go up on stage and try this?
No, not exactly. So, well, comedy, I've always loved comedy. I think there's a lot of people who are connoisseurs of comedy and they just love stand-up comedy.
Sure.
And I think when you really love stand-up comedy, you start to enjoy things like Comedians in Cars with Coffee and all those kinds of things. Or you'll watch the documentaries, like there's a George Carlin documentary that's out now. And
I did see that.
Yeah, it's really
the other
good.
day. I think I saved it because I knew you would like that.
I want to watch. I love him.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
It's excellent. But you get into those things because you actually like comedy. You're not. There's a difference. Like, for example, if you really like music, there's not just a band you like. You'll want to go and watch the 16 hours of the Beatles Get Back.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
That's
All
someone
behind
who
the
really loves
scenes.
music. I don't even like the Beatles that much.
Yeah.
But I loved every minute of that because of the process.
Yeah.
So
And I think that's what it
stand-up
is for
comedy
me.
is all process.
Yeah. So how did this happen? How did this start?
So after Miis,
Right.
this goes back to the original question. After Miis, I wanted to start an improv troupe at Miis, and I had the blessing of everybody.
I remember you telling me this. Then it closed? Is that what happened?
Then we closed. They were basically trying to hand the reins over to some degree to somebody because they were moving.
Yeah.
And they were looking for people to kind of take it over, and I was going to be one of those people potentially to kind of help out. And I wanted it to keep going, and then COVID, of course, killed a lot of little theaters. That's just the way it goes.
did.
Yeah.
Just the way it goes. So I needed to do something else. So I thought, I've always loved SAK Comedy Lab in downtown Orlando, which is really, it's not the only game in town as far as that goes, but it's the only game in town with what it's doing. It's a consistent theater that's doing improv comedy every weekend, and they used to do it almost every day.
Now, is it, I read a little bit about
30
them
years
too.
this year.
Is that like 30
Actually,
years.
30 years last year. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a place you can go see stand-up comedy, like a show.
Improv most of the time.
Mostly improv.
Improv
Okay,
comedy,
that's awesome. But you can go see that.
Yeah.
But I also read like they do training
Yeah.
and they do events. Like you can hire them to come or you guys
Right.
to come or whatever.
Right.
So you're a major part of that place now, or at least you're there all the time from what I've seen.
So I started out. So I have a good friend who I've known since college, although we more like knew of each other because he's a little bit younger than I am. And he is very highly involved since the mid 90s with SAK Comedy Lab, and it has grown into this Orlando just base kind of a business.
Yeah.
Everybody knows SAK. Most people have gone and seen SAK at some point or another if they live in the area.
I'm sure I've been. It's like right downtown. Right
downtown. Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to be right next to the stadium when the Magic were with Bob Carr and the old Orlando Arena.
Yeah.
And they used to be kind of on the side over there. And I don't know how long you all have been in Orlando. They used to be right near Tehran Church Street.
Yeah, I've been here
That's
for 50
when I've
years.
been there.
Yes.
It was at like upstairs, I think.
Yeah, I think it
Like
might
up
have
some
been.
stairs you had to go
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
So it's upstairs again. It occupies the space that used to be the swing club back when the mask came out and swing music became the big thing.
Oh.
That's where
Cool.
SAK Comedy Lab is now. But because there was no theater, there was no live performance, I had a conversation with my wife back right before I got involved in Miis, and I said I need to get back into this. I may have even talked about this last time on the show.
Barely. I mean, you touched on it just a bit.
But she said, let's do it. Let's just go do what you want to do. And that's when I kind of got involved with Miis. But the reason I even got into Miis is because I was taking an improv class at Winter Garden Theater.
Oh, okay.
So improv was really where
Winter
I
Garden,
wanted to be.
the garden.
The Garden.
The Garden
Yeah.
Theater. We just went there for Beauty and the Beast.
we
It was
love that
phenomenal.
place. Yeah, we go there
That's a great
every
place.
year. We go stay for for our anniversary, which coincidentally is exactly the same day as you guys' anniversary.
The 23rd?
Isn't that crazy?
May 23rd.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Yeah,
then.
you too.
You too.
Yes.
But every year we go, we're going to continue to do this after we move, but we go to Winter Garden, stay in the Edgewater, go to the Garden Theater, go to the chef's table for dinner, go to the market, hit the bike trail. It's a fun little weekend for us. But we love that theater over there. But this kind of explains something to me, because I don't think I caught this the last time. I knew that you were an entertainer at heart, but and I have to kind of tell the story again, but in a different way. When we went to Mimi's, my daughter at the time wanted to go. She was younger, and I mentioned she was younger because she thought she might want to get into acting, and maybe still does. Now she really wants to get into directing. But, I was encouraging her to go try it or whatever. And Mimi's was a good place to get your feet wet, try it without being too intense, like a big theater play or something. And I just remember all the parents being there and the kids being there, and they're handing out the thing to try out. And when I keep calling them tryouts, but auditions. When you guys were all doing your auditions, Mimi was trying to get all the parents. Do you want to be a role? And I'm like, I don't want. This is my daughter's thing. I'm not going to go up there and do that. But when I saw you, and I said this last time, when I saw you do the parts you were trying out for, I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Oh my God, this guy's like he must voice cartoon characters or something. So you were born for that kind of stuff. And then when you were the groundhog, it added a level of comedic. Physical comedy and comedic timing. I mean, the kids were great too, don't get me wrong. But for adults, it's like when you sit through Shrek, it's really funny for adults sometimes. It added that element to where adults could really enjoy it too, because you nailed that part.
Great.
Thanks.
So, I just remember that's when I first met you, and I was like, I got to talk to this guy more, because you are just in your element when you're doing that, for sure. So I'm very curious to see you doing the stand-up, because I get the feeling you kind of in your element doing that too.
Yeah. So by the way, I did my own makeup in that show as well.
Oh, the groundhog?
Yeah.
That costume was brutal though.
It was so hot. I lost so much weight and sweat every day.
In the last time we interviewed you, 100 episodes ago, you said, well, what's that bad? I'd put the costume on around 6, but I was sweating bullets by, say, 6:02.
Right. Yeah.
I was cracking.
And then you got to run and jump and fall.
And then people want to hug me afterwards.
Yes. Please don't touch me.
And it's
you
like
don't want to.
No, it's like, do you want to hug a hot sponge full of vinegar?
Like a wet rag. Right.
But they did.
Yeah, for sure.
My niece came, and my sister's daughter, and she just...
hug it up.
Right.
But
funny.
Yeah. But so we went from that to, I directed the Christmas play, which was the last show they had, Christmas Bells, and that was such a joy to do, and it was just wonderful, and just working with a lot of wonderful people, and then COVID, and then I had to do something. So Rob Ward, who is also P Sparkle at SAK Comedy Lab, which is a fantastic show if you ever get a chance to go see
Sparkle?
it. He does it once a month. P Sparkle.
Like P. Like P
initial
Sparkle.
P.
Oh, the initial P.
That's funny. Yeah, no.
I'm like, P Sparkle.
Yeah, P Sparkle. So it's once a month on a I don't know if he just did it last Thursday. It must be the last Thursday of the month, but the P Sparkle show, it's fantastic. It's adult, it's R-rated. Because of language.
Yes.
And it's improv, but it's adult, because SAK Comedy Lab is known for family-friendly improv. That doesn't mean they're talking about, teddy bears and rainbows all the time.
Yeah.
But they're not going to cross certain lines.
Of course,
Yeah. That goes back to what I was talking about, like Shrek, where you can still enjoy the jokes they don't get.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if there's no kids, if it's a 9:30 show, they might get a little bit more blue, but there's still limits. Whereas the P Sparkle show is exactly the opposite of that.
Okay, we want to go to the opposite one. Yes,
I took a
the
note.
P
Well, yeah,
Sparkle
for
show.
sure we'll go.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I've kind of jammed my way in. I'm kind of the photographer for them now.
Yeah.
I take anytime I know there's a new cast member that I haven't taken pictures of, I'll go out there and I'll run around
So I feel like your element and what makes you happy is you just have to. You want to immerse yourself in that entertainment type culture, whatever it may be, whether acting, improv, directing, taking whatever it is, creativity. Creativity.
Creativity.
Creativity.
I like that word.
Whatever word it was trying to be. Whatever word.
I want to be engulfed in creativity.
There you go.
What's that? There's a Jim Carrey movie where he goes complete anonymity or something like that.
Kind of like a word I say at every show.
Right.
Definitely.
But you are. To her point, you are like an entertainer. You like to be an entertainer. Yeah. Are you since your stand-up, I still want to know how you got into it. So did you like reach out to those guys and say, hey, I want to come be part of this? Or is it just open mic? You showed up one night or?
Yeah, I'll finally just answer the question now.
That's okay.
I keep going. So I got into, when COVID happened, I got into an online version of kind of an improv course. And then when SAK decided to start taking students again, I got into the level 1 improv course. And I went to level 1, and then I went to level 2, and then I went to level 3, and I went to level 4. There's a show at the end of level 1, which, by the way, I recommend for anybody because it's really great. If you have to talk to people at all, improv level 1 at SAK Comedy Lab is fantastic.
Yeah.
But level 2, level 3, they're not performance, but you learn a lot. It gets a little bit more serious into the craft. Level 4 is really like a show. Again, there's a show at the end.
Yeah.
So you're learning the SAK show format. And then I took the advanced class, I think 4 times in a row, which there's 2 shows, one halfway and one at the end. I did that. So that's a lot of what you've seen with my improv. I want to do that for money. I want to do that professionally. So I have continued and I've auditioned for this program that they have. I'm going to audition again June 18th. Which is it's a closed audition. They only invite certain people, and people that have risen to a certain degree where they want to bring you into the program. So I didn't make it the first time. I didn't make it into the inaugural Thursday show is what they call it, and they're doing it again. Because I didn't make it, I was like, well, I'm not just going to do nothing. So there's this stand-up level 1. I'll try that. And not only did I love it, but the person that was teaching it, Ali Flores, he's been around this area for a long time. He's been part of Disney. He's also an improviser. He also knows Jody, who is the person that I've got involved with that show at Fringe and also the Halloween show that I did. Everything ties into everything.
Yeah.
And I found out Jody from Rob, the person that I was working with at improv. Anyway, they know each other. They know people that I used to work with 10 years ago. And and then I did a stand-up show in front of people, stand-up comedy. I realized I could do it. And if you can do that, it's the kind of thing that you want to just do it all the time.
Did you get...
Or never again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Did you get good results the first time?
Yeah, I think I did. And level 2 is, so he says in level 1, don't go to open mics.
Yeah.
Because it's going to destroy you.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to laugh.
Right.
They don't care.
Yeah.
He's right. So immediately level 1 is over. And I said, hey, can we do a level 2? He said, I don't do level 2s. I don't do level 2s anymore. Why? Why not? Because nobody wants to sign up for the level 2s because it requires you going out 2 or 3 times a week, going to open mics, because then we talk about them when we come back to class and we kind of fine tune your show and people don't want to put the time in to go to these open mics anymore. So there's no point in doing level 2s. And I'm not going to get enough people to sign. I said, I can get people to sign up. And
oh, no way.
I put together enough people that were interested, and we just hit these open mics as a group. We got the level 2, and it was fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome.
And now we still hit open mics all the time.
Oh, that's awesome.
And by the way, can I add that there is a supreme lack of females in comedy in general?
Yeah.
And I was in both my level 1 and level 2. I was surrounded by super talented comedians that mostly female. I think there was 2 or 3 guys and like 5 or 6 ladies.
Oh, that's great.
And they are so good. I'm big fans of them.
I mean, is everyone's goal to kind of do this as a job, or is it vary?
It varies. I think most people know, but I can see some sparkles and I can see some wheels turning in some people's heads that I think this will be and could be. Yeah.
I'm curious, like where you get material from. I mean, I know most comedians just pull it from everyday life, but what is kind of your process of collecting material and how do you put it together? Like how we already talked about memory. So are you just remembering these things, or do you have your little notes that you take or keep organized in a certain way?
I usually have it with me, and it's sitting in my car. It's usually in my car, but it's sitting on my counter at home. I have a notebook that I write in, that I've been writing in almost every day since my level 1 stand-up. It's just constant writing, or I'll take notes on my phone and then later put it into my book.
Is it like when an idea hits you? That's how novel writing is.
You all might say something and you might see me like take my phone and go, hold on a second, let me write that down. That's a premise.
And to me, and I don't know anything about this, but my brain, I've always had a dry sense of humor, and I'm very much entertained by comedians that are incredibly witty. So when you talk about improv, which is really almost, to define improv, isn't it almost really the nature of being able to react to another comedian without it seeming like you're making it up on the spot kind of thing?
It's very different. So first, let me say that stand-up comedy, for anybody that's listening and that's thinking of doing it, well, first of all, Ali Flores' course at SAK is fantastic, and it's always sold out. But I definitely highly recommend it. But 2, it's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
By far. The hardest thing I've ever done in entertainment.
Yeah.
By far.
Is there an element of improv to, I guess, to stand up, or stand up all mapped out? You got it all in your head. You got your whole script top to bottom. Like Angie's asking, everything you wrote down, you got it memorized.
So it's way more scripted than you might think. I think the people that you see that look like they are kind of off the cuff right then and there are just really good at it.
Yeah.
But you have to have things written down because there might be a way you say things. Like, for example, a little while ago before we got on here, when I was talking about, drinking whiskey and blah, 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 and I said alcohol, I might say that a funny way in my stand-up. Yeah. I don't make a joke about it. It just that's a little like earwig there.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was drinking some alcohol and people will laugh at that. Just a little. So you have all those little moments strategically placed, and you time out. Okay, it's been about 20 seconds since a light laugh, big laugh. So you plot all that stuff.
So
out.
you have your sort of comedy's another one that I.
But it's all you.
Right. Yeah. And this is where, again, as I said before, I'm wildly entertained by the process, where I just got done with Kevin Hart's book, his second book. But I love the story of some of those guys where they did go out and they wanted to be a comedian. They're all full of themselves, and they go out and do open mic and get obliterated to where they're like, it's a soul crushing, nobody laughs kind of thing. And then there's people who just got lucky on the night they went, or just never had a bad night until they'd been in the business for a while. So it was almost worse for them when they had a bad night, because then it's like, am I losing they weren't stacking it up and getting better and better. Dave Chappelle is the one I'm thinking of, because he started real young and just had like a knack for it. So when he's had some bad shows, it's been much more. Yeah.
I don't think you can be a successful comedian. And by the way, I am still a baby when it comes to this. I don't care what you've done before.
Yeah.
People who are good at stand-up, you are just getting to be good at stand-up if you've maybe been doing it like consistently for 5 or 6 years.
Sure.
To where you're maybe starting to feature, where you're the headlining comedian.
Right.
But in my short experience, you have to fail miserably to know what's good. And this is the great thing about open mics. If you can make other comedians who really don't care.
Yeah.
They just don't care. And it doesn't mean they're jerks. You'll go and talk to them later and they'll be like, hey, that was really good. They'll recognize.
Yeah, they're listening in the background, but they're not sitting.
But if you can hear little, if you hear that little, you have to record everything, because you'll go back and you'll listen. You'll go, there was a little laugh there. A little laugh there means a bigger laugh in a crowd, a regular crowd.
Because they're more critical. They've been listening to jokes for longer, and they don't have. I would imagine that the crowd can be nicer because you're going to have people that are just nice and are going to. I'm the type of person that's going to clap and laugh and just to whoever's up there. I don't want you to feel bad.
I was going to say being like in front of your peers. It's
Right.
like a kid when they go in a talent show in high school. Like you have to have some cojones to get up in front of your peers.
Yeah.
And, you know, these, you know, because, you know, there's going to be those kids that are like, you know, but to be able to do that, it takes such bravery to me. So, yeah, you're getting up in front of your peers and trying to get a reaction. You're hoping for a reaction. Right?
Orlando's actually a pretty friendlier place, I think, than a lot of other, like if you were doing stand-up comedy in New York City or Chicago or something like that, if you go up and do stand-up, you don't have to be good. But if you go up into an open mic and you put in some time, because you usually get 3, 5, if you're lucky, 10 minutes, if you have 10 minutes. And if you just go up there and you just squander your opportunity and you're just up there being an idiot and you're obviously not working on anything. You just signed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In places like that, people are going to be really upset because you took time away from somebody who's trying to develop.
Who's really,
Here, it's definitely similar to that, but I would say that the people here are pretty supportive. I've gained a lot of friends that I didn't have 2 months ago, 3 months ago. From the comedy scene, and they're all very supportive of each other, and I'm very supportive of them. You know, I'm still a comedy fan, even though I'm doing stand-up now. So
of course,
I love to see them succeed.
I think we have noticed that in the community down here as far as just the supportiveness of creatives with other creatives.
Yeah.
Like in all different areas.
In many areas, yeah, it is like that for sure. That's the way the authors are with each other, where it's like, hey, there's an event. Why don't you come too? Or, you know, so it's good to hear that. It sounds like the philosophy that you're feeling from the other comedians for the most part down here is that there's enough success to go around and you're not stepping on my toes. And I would imagine you polish your craft with each other too, because
you do,
you know, especially if you really become friends, because then you can go, let me bounce some jokes off you. And your friend's going to go, dude, that sucks. If it sucks, instead of being nice and telling you that. Yeah.
And comedy's hard. And I'll say that it's also kind of a very tight knit group because even if you're not known very well, you can get kind of blackballed very quickly if you do not treat other comedians with respect. And that doesn't mean laugh with them, and it doesn't mean you have to be nice to them even. But if you are just bad mouthing people, because let's say you know, you're a comedian, or let's say you decide to go and do it, and you wrote down some jokes, and you have a good personality, maybe your jokes aren't hitting, whatever, and then people are just bad mouthing you to someone else. You didn't hear this, right? But they're bad mouthing, and then one of the other comedians hears that, and they're like, "This person's just bad. He's up there trying, you know, trying some new stuff," and that's just not good for the community. And you know, if you do that enough, you get known for being that kind of a person. Or if you're you know, sexualizing all the female comedians, or if you're doing all the there's definitely like you won't get booked for shows.
You'll be shunned almost. I mean, because that's not how you should behave.
Right.
Like, just like how Dan said, one of our philosophies is just there is enough success for everybody, you know, and everybody it don't matter if you both sell soap. They're both good soaps. You know what I mean?
Right.
Support each other and you'll sell more soap. There you go.
And but it seems like, to your point, it seems like, and the only thing I know about this from the insider perspective is I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast. He's a comedian. He has comedians on, and they talk about, they've been doing it for years. They talk about life on the road or whatever. And there's examples they give of some of them, like starting, I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember who, but starting and maybe not being good, where another older, more senior comedian would pull them aside and say, you got to relax. That one thing you did was really good, and this thing, and remember that thing you said the other night when we were all playing cards? Do that. Yeah. That was fun. And it's really inspiring where they're helping instead of behind closed. And then they talk about the ones that steal each other's jokes and badmouth each other. And those people have inevitably, even though some of them saw wild success to start with, those people have eventually fizzled out because the whole community turned on them.
Yeah.
It just takes time for the. So it seems like that might just be in the DNA of being in the comedian and be in that world, which is nice.
Well, Joe Rogan's a really good example, and I'm glad you bring him up because I am not a Joe Rogan fan.
Yeah.
But I will say that I will never badmouth his comedy or choices that he makes because he's out there trying to do something, trying to say something, and he's not always going to say winners. I've heard, so there, people talk about, especially right now, and this is very cliche.
Sure.
Where there's certain subjects you can't talk about. Don't touch it. And I really do disagree with that, and I think a lot of comedians
we disagree with that too.
100%. And just for clarity, let me just say, and I am saying this not because you said that, but just for clarity, I really enjoy Joe Rogan's podcast where he talks to people. I have the utmost respect for him. I feel like he's very balanced. I'm not a huge fan of his comedy. It's just not that funny to me. I'm not saying he's not good at it. He's just not that funny.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I figured.
Yeah. I actually. My favorite Joe Rogan is his UFC stuff, which I know is
My favorite Joe Rogan is just when he's talking about anything, because he'll say I'm an idiot. I don't know, but I just like the way he gets people to talk and listens.
But I think going back to the topic of subjects that you shouldn't touch or whatever, that's what comedians have always done. Well, that's their form of art, is to make light of something or poke at it when it's really a sore subject. You know what I mean?
It's also like social release for the community. That sounds dirty, but for the community,
that sounds very
true.
That's a good band name, though.
Social release.
But you know what I mean? It's like the stuff that we can't talk about in life. Listening to a comedian talk about it is kind of like, it blows it's like the elephant in the room.
Right. Well, it kind of is. Comedians of their day are definitely loudspeakers for their culture.
Yeah.
And like when I was a kid, I used to love, I was way too young. Well, maybe not way too young. I was 14, 15 when Andrew Dice Clay came out and was really big. Now I'll go back and listen to stuff I used to listen on repeat, the tape. I would wear out the tape. And now I listen to it and I'm like, oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrible. It's just horrible.
But we're evolving, right?
Now.
We're evolving, though.
Was it wrong then to talk about women the way that he does? Yeah, it was wrong then, too.
Yeah.
But when people say it was different, it's not that the subject was different. Everybody was more accepting of it, or they were completely silent and never.
And
that's the evolution of society.
That's the evolution of society.
Yeah.
So there's definitely now, if you were to say things like that today, can you talk about can you be super misogynistic today in comedy? Yeah, you can be. But you are also responsible for what you say.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you may alienate a whole group of
Dave
people.
Chappelle.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, I still love Dave
He's
Chappelle.
my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
But I understand what people are talking about. I've seen those specials. I don't agree with what those people are saying, but he hit a nerve with people and they have the right to say and be.
Everybody has the right. I agree.
Just like he has the right to. That's his.
Yeah, but I'm glad he
art.
wasn't silenced from. I don't think the media outlets should be silencing these people.
Yeah, I don't either.
There's certain politicians that I absolutely despise.
But as soon as
I always wonder, I'm like, should they be silenced? Gosh, part of me says yes.
I'm with you.
They shouldn't. Yeah, exactly.
And we're tiptoeing around because we always say we never talk about politics or religion. But I will say on the fringe,
from the entertainment point of view,
right? On the fringe of it, I always feel like we cannot start telling each other what to say and what not to say. That's the scary. But when you start doing that, it starts becoming something different. Even though,
or what to think.
I agree with you, and I agree with you because there are things that some of them say when I'm like. It's just wrong or not funny.
Yeah.
But I'm still glad you're able to say it.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I remember there were people that would say, "Hey, I hate the music you listen to, but I'll support your right to listen to it or whatever." And that's gone away. That's gone away.
Yeah. It kind of has gone away.
It's disappointing, but I had a joke, which I have a routine that I actually did on. I did it on stage a couple weeks ago. And when I was writing it, I said in my class, I said, I wrote a trans joke, and immediately a couple of people was telling me like, oh, no, you can't, you haven't even heard the joke. You haven't even heard the joke.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to basically tell it to you in short. So, my dog, Penny, who we got a year ago, she's freaking phenomenal. By the way, I also want to talk a little bit about
I got in my notes. We're definitely going to plug that.
Yeah.
But Penny that I got a year ago, and I'll be walking her, and people will come up to me and like, and they do this all the time. This is just normal. People walk up to you and they say, "Oh, what a cute dog. What's his name? What's his name?"
We get it every time. Every time. She has a pink collar on. Still.
Yeah. Well, what's his name? That's the way people. And I say, well, her name is Penelope, Duchess of Pupperton.
Nice.
That is not her name.
And
that is amazing.
That's her name. Penelope, Duchess of Pupperton. And,
love it.
And then immediately people are like, "Oh, his name. Oh, or her name. What a cute dog. What a cute dog. Her name, etc." And they walk off. Nobody says anything. They don't say, "Does your dog have a penis?"
Right.
They don't say, well, looks like a boy to me, you liberal hippie. They don't say.
They just agree and move on.
They just take it for what it is and look at her cuteness and continue moving on.
Yeah.
That seems like it would be a purely acceptable joke.
If we would just treat human beings the same with the same respect we treat, you don't have to like it.
No.
Treat human beings the same way you would treat a dog. But if you ever say Puppertown, she's from Pupperton.
Oh.
I missed that part of the joke, by the way.
I'm going to pour in a crowd right here.
Yeah, that's great. No, that's a really, but that's kind of like a logical way to look, to bring
that's
that
my trans
topic
joke.
to, that's a logical way. Just like, come on, people,
But see, there's something about everyone has a different style. It's not always controversial, but I think I've always liked Dave Chappelle because I feel like he's incredibly intelligent. And when a person is incredibly intelligent and they're a comedian, it just appeals to me. The way they talk, their timing. Nate Bargatze, am I saying his name right? Nate Bargatze. He is my new favorite comedian.
Yeah, and he's a very clean,
100% clean. But
clean
if you haven't heard of him, I'll send you a clip. But he is, and he's taken off like he's the voice in the new game from Valve, but he's very clean. It's just there's a little
does
dog
everybody
that
hear
wants
that?
out.
Our doggie just rang her doorbell, so she has a doorbell.
Oh, to go potty?
She goes, I'm going to go let her go potty.
Okay.
You guys continue the conversations. I'll be right back.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so we put little sidebar, but we put one of those little doggy doorbells in, and she's incredibly smart. She learned it like in 2 weeks, and she'd push the button every time, and it's great because we have a speaker in here, which I should have unplugged, and we have one in the kitchen. So when she pushes the button, it goes wherever the speakers are, and she'll go out. And so Angie said, "That's awesome. Why don't we get another one and put on the outside so you can go back to work or whatever, and then you'll know when she rings the bell she wants to come back in." She does that one too, but this is typical dog. You know what the outside bell means to her? Now you come outside. So she'll go ring it, and I'll open it, and she'll have a toy in her mouth and be looking at me like, "Did you heard the bell, right?" It's like
I left the door open so she can just come in. No, she'll probably just. So when is like your next show? Like, do you have like a normal schedule? Is it just something you kind of say, "Oh, like I'm going to go do it tonight"?
If we want to come see you. Yeah. Like, how would we?
So there are a few open mics that I think I would invite people to. Every other, I think it's Wednesday, there's an open mic. It's a little far away. It's out in Avalon, which is way out east past UCF. East past UCF. It's at a place called Game On. But it's a wonderful open mic because the people out in Avalon, there's not a whole lot right near there.
Yeah.
And they've been coming out, again, every 2 weeks. It's not this week. It would be next Wednesday. A Game On, and it's an open mic. People can sing.
Is it a restaurant? Is it a bar?
It's a bar.
Okay, cool.
And there's an open mic there every other Wednesday. I think it's at like 7 or 8. Or that might just be signups. But there's an open mic almost every night except for weekends. Weekends are usually shows. Tomorrow night, I'm going to the Bull and Bush in the Milk District. I'll do an open mic there. But as far as shows, I don't have anything booked yet because I still have work to do.
Still practicing.
But there are There are there are a couple of Facebook groups, but there's a very strong community. People will say, "Hey, I'm doing a show. I need people who have 5 or 10 minutes." Yeah, and people will sign up, and they'll give them a video of, like a demo reel basically. And that's one thing that you get by taking Ollie's class is he'll record your 5-minute set and give you a very well professionally made video of you doing stand-up, and you can take that out to shop around so you can get into some shows.
That's cool.
That is awesome. So you have no fear now. You just go to any stand-up and just go do it. And
well, the open mics,
I'm sorry, that's what I mean. Any open mic, you just go do it.
You're also going to see the same people. So tonight, for example, there's an open mic that at the Falcon downtown in Thornton Park. And then so you'll see people, the comedians there, and then they all rush over. As soon as they're done, they rush over to Lamps, and they'll Laughing with Lamps. Oh, I forget the name of the bar now, but that one's later. So the same people will go and they'll jump to the other open mic, and there might be some people who couldn't go to the earlier one, and so they'll go to the later one. But it's just people working their stuff,
and they're having a new crowd,
and they'll talk about some things sometimes that are just cringy. But they're working on it. That's why it's like rude to video record. It's rude to do because
it's rough cuts.
They're working on it. And if something gets out there and people are, oh, this person is whatever negative, racist, sexist, they're working on it. Yeah. They're working on it. Just give them the opportunity to work on
get it right.
Yeah. Instead of
and if you really
any
care,
negativity,
go up to them and say, hey, you know what? That was offensive to me. That's, by the way, the key. It was offensive to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
because
if
it's not offensive to everybody. That's right.
I don't know if that's something that you want to do, but maybe if you did this, do you think of that? And they might say, oh, yeah, thanks for the idea or whatever. Or maybe say, hey, I didn't realize or whatever. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. Is that really why you moved back downtown?
Yep.
Is it?
Yep.
That's awesome.
So this
Can
is what
you
I was,
walk from home to these places?
Could you imagine driving all the way from Claremont to Orlando?
I was coming down when I started doing improv. I was coming down once a week for that, and then I'd get involved in something or another. When I was in the Fringe Festival doing that show, I was coming down 2-3 times a week at least. This time last year, and then I was again doing the comedy, doing additional nights of improv, constantly coming downtown 2-3 nights a week. And Bobby and I had a conversation, my wife Bobby, and she said, if you really love us this much, let's just do it. Let's sell the house. Let's move. Let's do it.
I love that. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys,
I owe this all to her.
You seem to wildly support each other, and the freedom when you don't have kids is pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
So well, they don't have kids. Well, they do have kids.
We're just starting to get that life.
Yeah.
I know you're going to say about the doggies, but
they have the fur babies. But we do want to talk a little bit about Penelope.
Yeah.
And the rescue for sure.
And you have 3 in all.
3.
Correct. Are they all from Pupperton? Not to be confused with Puppertown?
No.
No, they're not all. But they all.
Mr. Banks.
Did you foster all of them before you adopted them?
No, just the one. The one. So Mr. Banks is the old man. He's about 11. We got him from a friend of my sister's who stole him from her brother who loved him but wasn't really taking great care of him. He was patchy hair or whatever, and she said he needs a better home. Yeah. So he lived with us along with Brooklyn, who passed away. She was our pit. She was there when you guys were there last time. She died about 6 months before we got Penny, but I was dating a veterinarian at the time, and she was a dog that somebody had just left out at the vet's office. Yeah. So that was Brooklyn. So most of our dogs have come from different kinds of situations.
Yeah.
Frankie, who is the dachshund, she's about 7. She was owned by a friend of mine from the improv class I took at Winter Garden Theater. And when he brought her home from a dachshund rescue, she hates children, and he has a small child, and it was not a good mix.
There's no way to mix that.
So after like 2 weeks, he's like, we can't do this. Yep. And I showed the picture to my wife, and she's like, oh, let's meet her. And anyway, she's still there.
Yeah.
Loves my wife. She likes me.
Yeah.
But she loves Bobby.
That sounds like our
Loves
dog.
Bobby.
Loves her, likes me. Yeah.
Like she would just sit on her lap forever if that was an option.
Oh.
She sits on her lap so long sometimes that she'll just pee a little because she doesn't want to move.
Get up. Oh.
It's a problem. It's a problem.
Oh.
But Penny, so I did the Fringe show. So the composer from that, by the way, his name is Nathan Felix. I don't know if it's okay, if he wants his name out there or whatever. I'm sure he does. But he is absolutely fabulous, and he wrote the music for that show. And my friend Jody, who I had worked with in the Halloween show that we did, she wanted me to come in because they needed some other people. During the production of the Fringe show last year, Jody's, because they normally foster cats and adopt out cats because there's so many cats out there.
Oh, yeah.
They really don't work with dogs that much. And really, there aren't as many dogs. And they went to go get they went to go get a cat at the shelter over by Millennia. Mm-hmm. And when they went there, these people had gotten there a little bit too late. The place was closed, and they had this puppy in their hand, and we need to get rid of this dog. And they were there. The rescue that my friend Jody runs was there, and they said, well, what are you doing? What's wrong with the dog? And she was very lethargic, and she was just obviously not well.
Yeah.
And they said, we'll just take her. A Better Life Pet Rescue, by the way, you could find it online.
Oh, yes.
A Better Life Pet Rescue. They're on Facebook and everything. Again, most of what you're going to see is cats. So they took Penny, who I forget what her name was at the time. When they take her, they always give them a name.
Yeah.
And she was just lethargic and blah blah blah, and little she just drooly and she threw up in the car. Which, by the way, she still hates car rides. And they put up a little video of her on on TikTok, and she went viral.
Oh, cool.
She's just adorable, just very photogenic.
Yeah.
So my wife finds her, and she says, "Oh, look at this dog. They're looking for a foster because they had big dogs that she was a little bit afraid of, where they had her at the time." And so I called Jody and I said, "Hey, we lost Brooklyn about 6 months ago. Maybe we can." A foster might be a really good way to see if I still have room in my heart to go through this again.
Yeah.
I didn't think I did.
Uh-huh.
And she's really cute, whatever. So we brought her home, and we knew like within a day.
Yeah.
But she started throwing up and pooping out human hair. So she had obviously gotten into something.
Yeah.
She was not doing well, but it all passed. She didn't need any surgeries, and she just changed. And she is the best dog. And she's so fun. She's athletic, like she could do all of I'm sure I could teach her to do all of the jumping up,
the agility course
agility
and everything.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She catches the balls bounce off the wall, and she contorts her body to catch them, and
I love it.
she's so wonderful.
It's so fun. It's look, all right, I do have children, but I'm just telling everybody out there, I love my dog more than I love my children. I've told him that too. It's okay. It's okay.
Well,
it's a different kind of love. It is like this, but this dog just loves me unconditionally. It's just amazing.
Put it this way, Jason. I'm the one that sort of dragged our collective feet on this for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And now I'm like, okay, we really need a second one.
Oh yeah, he's
really
already ready for a second one.
Because and just like kids, she has me completely right. Whatever she wants. When she comes up to the door and rings the bell with a Frisbee in her mouth, Mackenzie, I'm like, guess I'm just going to quit my job then because I had a meeting, but
I guess
I'm going to push that off till tomorrow.
It's they just get your heart. But I love that story. It reminds me of those viral videos we've seen that are really hard to watch at the beginning where a dog is in really bad shape, and then they take them home, and then they get them better, and I'm not crying, you're crying.
Right.
By the time it's over. But yeah.
I love that you've taken in dogs that needed
Me too.
that place.
Well, I'll tell you, there was a hard one. So we did the fostering that one time with Penny. We kept her. She went viral on TikTok.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, now she needed a lot of time before she was going to be adoptable. And she needed all these shots. She needed a lot of stuff going on. She hadn't been fixed yet. And the rescue, Jody said to me, "Hey, she's gotten a lot of notice. the most we've ever had on a dog. So you guys need to let us know, like in 40, because she said you guys will
Somebody
have a
was
month.
going to take her.
Yeah. People want the dog.
course.
So you all need to know. And I said to Bobby, I was like, Bobby, people want this dog. And she said, I don't like that idea. So, so we kept her. But
Good
a
for
few
you.
months later, Jody said, we have this other dog. We don't know what to do. Are y'all want to, foster again? And talk to Bobby. Said, okay, because this was a special case. This was a really big dog, a pit bull mix with, I don't know, just a big floppy kind of face, maybe a mastiff or something like that, but just a big dog.
And you have little dogs.
3 little dogs. And this was Tex. Tex, this is a little sad. Tex was used, nobody knows this, but Tex was used as a bait dog for fighting dogs, which is when people will take a dog and they'll hold it so other dogs can bite on it.
Yeah.
And it's awful that they do that. And you can see all the little
that's a
marks.
thing?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
You could see all the little marks and scars by his ears and face and everything.
It's horrible.
And he obviously had his jaw broken at some point or another, and he was just this big, smelly, fleas and just a lot of stuff wrong with him. And he was very afraid of men.
Yeah, because that's
very afraid of
who was handling him probably.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay with ladies, afraid of men. So he had a foster family, and they were going on vacation for a week, and he had only been with them for about 6 or 7 days. So Jody said, do you mind watching Tex for a week? Because we know that you'll do a good job. Absolutely. Let's do it. Bobby and I said, fine. Actually, that's not what Bobby. Bobby said, yeah, if you're going to take care of him, that's on you.
Yeah.
So day 1, this dog's afraid of me, not going anywhere near me. Kept him totally separate from the other dogs because we don't know his history.
Yeah.
And turns out they all ended up being best friends, especially Penny. But Penny was actually trying to dominate him the whole time, and he was fine with it. He was just But he also had his I think it was his right leg was permanently kind of like up like this, just gimpy, because he didn't have a broken shoulder, but he had a bone infection, probably from being bitten in the shoulder. He had a bone infection, and he was only walking on 3 legs. So day 2 or 3 of us having him, he and I just bonded, and he we were playing a little bit more, and he absolutely adored me. And who's Bobby? Absolutely adored me. Absolutely adored playing with Penny. Like, I'd throw the ball for Penny, and Tex would kind of lumber it over after it a little bit. Younger dog, probably about 4, but big and scary looking.
Yeah.
But such a sweetheart. And we bonded hardcore, and he was even starting to just slowly put his foot down.
Oh. Wow.
So made a ton of progress in the week that we had him. And the day before the fosters came to pick him up, I sat down on the ground with him and just started bawling, just crying because of the bond. And he's just looking at me, putting his head on my lap. And Bobby would walk by, and she'd walk by, and she came over, and we went out to eat dinner that night. And she said, "Honey, do we need to adopt Tex? Do we need to adopt him? Because we can do that." And I said, "No," because I thought that the fosters were going to keep him.
Yeah,
they had these 2 young daughters, who absolutely adored him. And I said it would be selfish for us to keep Texas away from this wonderful family that wants him. They ended up not keeping him, but the person that ended up taking Tex, it's just he was going to be a one person, one dog.
He was going to get all the attention.
All the attention.
That's
she works
amazing.
in a vet's office. He's a little special needs, so she's the right person for him. It just all turned out really well. We got to foster him twice.
Oh, that is awesome.
Nice.
And he didn't quite remember me, but he kind of did.
Yeah.
It only took 1 day for us to bond again. But I didn't cry the second time.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
you almost made me cry right now.
I love hearing those stories. That's
too.
just people that open their heart like that to animals, to be able to bring them in.
But this animal
take care
did
of them.
nothing. Did nothing.
I know. They never do. That's the thing. Even when they're mean, there's a reason. There's a reason why. It's usually because somebody mistreated them, or
But
they
he
just
went
had
the
a
other
bad plot in
direction.
life.
He was just like, I'm going to just take a step back.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. What a good dog.
Well, Jason, it's always so entertaining talking to you, and you've had a lot going on in the past 2 years that we haven't seen you.
Yeah.
It doesn't even seem like that long.
Oh, it really
to me.
doesn't. When I'm looking for your last episode, I'm like, that was last year. Where is it? And I'm searching through all of them.
It's the first. Yeah, it was the first year we started.
Yeah. But if people wanted to go see you, because I know we want to go see you, but is there a way? Would it have to be someone that knows you that can contact you?
Or on your social media?
No, I post. I post a lot of stuff on social media. So if you're on Facebook, you can find. I always post on. If you look up Acting Jason, like ACTING, Acting Jason. That's my professional page on Facebook. You can also just look for Jason Montilla on Facebook if you find my personal page. But also I'm Acting Jason on Instagram, which is also a professional page. And I'll always post things like that.
Perfect.
We'll put some links too, but that's awesome.
I will say,
we're going to come see you for sure.
People who want to, I can send you a link. There's a link to a bunch of open mics around Orlando.
Yep.
And I travel around those all the time. I'm not always going to be at them.
Sure.
Yeah.
But there are open mics all around Orlando. Tuesday nights the Falcon and Lamps, and Wednesday at the Bull and Bush in the Milk District. Harry Buffalo on Monday. Austin's Coffee Tea House.
Oh my gosh, they are all over
Sunday
the place.
nights.
Pretty much every night.
Yeah, every night.
Free
there's something.
entertainment.
Thursday night at the Improv on Point Orlando area. That's actually a great one. That's a great one because that's a nice
But we've
stage.
been to actual shows there at that one, right? Because they do actual.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
That's one of the. Isn't
But
that
they
where
do
we went with
open
Mindy
mic.
and all them?
Yeah, but he said
they do an open mic on Thursday night. So if you've been to the Improv, before you go into the actual stage area, there's a bar
Outside that,
outside there, and there's another stage.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Which is Fat Fish Blue is the name of that stage. And that's where they do the open mics. However, they also do comedy classes at the Improv, which are way more writing based. I actually want to take that class too. And when they do their shows, they do them inside the Improv, which is a great venue for comedy because that room is designed for it.
Yeah, it is.
So I think I might be doing that. And I think that might be my next thing. I did a show once. I don't think I was ready for it, but it was a much smaller show at Murphy's pub on iDrive. But it was just a 5-minute thing.
Yep, I saw that one on your Facebook page too.
Yeah. But the crowd there was there to drink. They were not there to watch
That's got to
comedy.
be tough.
It's very tough.
Yeah.
I did get some laughs though because I was crawling across the bar at one point. So I did get some laughs for that. You really have to go above and beyond.
So I know we're wrapping up, but how did you do a show in Minneapolis? Is that?
So I was looking for, my last company, they have an office in Minneapolis and I was there for work and I was looking for open mics there. I found some open mics, but because, I had to schmooze and whatever, meet with different people. I could never make it out to an open mic, but, doing open mics in other cities and other locations is something I want to do. I'll probably go the next. I'll probably do that in South Florida. That's where my family lives. So when I go, but that's where my brain is now. It's like, oh, where are we gonna go? And I'm thinking, where can I do open mics?
That's amazing. That is so gutsy. Just like you said.
Where can we plan our vacation?
Because your support, your
I would love
buddies
to
aren't
do
there.
in Asheville. That might be.
Oh, you could find places.
Oh,
there.
for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, if you're up there when we move, let us know. We'll come see you for sure.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Well, our idea is I also want to have like a very nice guest house that we can also Airbnb, like not guest house, but like at the basement or something of a house that we buy.
Because we've done that.
Convert it into like a studio apartment or something.
Yeah.
So you can come stay with us and then you can
that
go
would
do
be
your,
wonderful. And I know
your open mics.
My buddies Michael and Charlene, Michael Terribly Odd, the artist from who, by the way, the success since
I was going to ask you about Terribly Odd.
Success of Gideon's at Disney.
Yeah. Has it taken off?
It has done immensely well, and he is I think like 80% of the reason people go to Gideon's is to the experience that he's created. If you haven't been there yet,
we haven't.
Get into the virtual queue. Go on if you want. If the weekend is weekdays easier, but get into the virtual queue early. Go shopping around for 2 hours or whatever. Come back. just take a look at that's all his mind, and it's wonderful and it's fantastic. People go there every month at least because they want to get the new menus and the new characters that he's created. He is just so talented.
Yeah. I know. This is the artwork that he had all over his house.
Michael Reyes. So he's not terribly odd at Gideon's. It's just Michael Reyes.
Oh, it's just his.
That's his actual name, Mr. Eyes, which is M. Reyes, Michael Reyes, but it's Mr. Eyes. But he's still doing Terribly Odd. We're still doing Terribly Odd. We're going to be launching the site again soon, terriblyodd.com, which is a store with.
We should see if he's interested in chatting with us.
He would be a fan. He's very shy. He's very much an artist. He lives in South Florida, but
we'll
he's up here all the time.
We'll give him a drink. That's what you do.
He likes whiskey.
No, we do too.
Really good whiskey.
Well, you like whiskey. I'll smell it.
But he and his wife just got married last month or the month before. They just got married.
Nice.
Just got married in Asheville.
Oh, very nice.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I think you all would really dig them.
Yeah.
They would be a great interview. I'm saying it now. Be a good interview.
All right. Well, we will definitely reach out to you to get information on how to reach out to him.
Fabulous.
That'd be perfect.
And thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Jason.
You guys,
this is great.
Definitely, if you have a date night, want to go out, just check Jason
That's
out.
what we're going to do for sure.
Yeah, look up Acting Jason on the socials.
Acting Jason.
Or Jason Montilla.
Yeah, and so we'll chat, but within the next couple of weeks, let's do it. That'd be fun to see you, and
date night.
And we'll clap and cheer. So
that would be great.
Yeah,
that'd be great
for sure. Well, thanks again, Jason, and I think that wraps it for us.
No, you have to say one thing.
I always forget to do this. She always makes me ask for money. See, I said this last time. So I want to remind everyone that we do have a Patreon now. So if you'd like to help contribute to the show and help support the show, we greatly appreciate it. You can go to patreon.com/Fine and Danjee. We have 3 tiers, $1, $3, and $5. And for those of you that have already signed up for Patreon, we can't thank you enough.
Whoop, whoop.
And we've been forgetting to say for a long time, we listened to the old episode where we had you on, Jason, and we used to say at the end, so if you enjoyed the podcast, please consider subscribing to the podcast. And if you have time, give us a rating or a review. A rating is the stars. You can literally just go in and click the stars and don't write anything. Or you can write a review if you want to be generous. But that really helps the algorithm so that we get more people to find the show. So we got to start remembering to say that.
That's right. We got to add that to the notes.
Yes.
But something we do always remember to say is at the end of each and every day, it's all fine and dandy.